Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast. Rays Rewind with Bell, Bushman, and Drew.
Jansen. That is into center field. Here comes Kiermaier. Phillips has tied the game. Arose Arena coming around. Throw home. Now he stumbles. But the ball gets away. Tampa Bay wins it. Brett Phillips, Game 4 hero.
The sickest Tampa Bay Rays podcast. It's gonna be sick.
Welcome, everybody, to the Rays Rewind podcast, the sickest Tampa Bay Rays podcast on the Sick Media Network. Make sure to go to our YouTube page and hit that subscribe notification bell at the Sick Podcast Rays Rewind. Welcome in, everybody. Of course, it is myself, the Great L. Bushman, and joining me as usual is my co-host, Drew. Welcome in, Drew. What's going on, buddy? We have a lot to talk about tonight, especially with the offensive woes that have continued on with the Tampa Bay Rays. I think it's been bad since the Saturday game against the Yankees, where they did walk it off. But after that, it's been kind of quiet. They scored a run last night. I think that was the first run they had in 7 innings, or more than 7 innings, or either way, they only scored 1 run and they lost still. So, Drew and I have kind of come together to just talk about it. Like, what do the Rays need to do? And right now, it's play better and hit. And we discussed this before the show, Drew, and we can kind of go into it right now. It's more of the same. And I know you have one side of the take on what's going on with the Rays, and I have another side too as well. So we can kind of go on both ends about what needs to be done, and is it time to panic yet? I know it's only April, so I want your take first.
Beauty before age. Sure, yeah. Okay, so it's early. Yeah, so it's early. I know that. I look at my calendar and I don't need people to remind me. It's only April and the season ends and the end of September and early October. So, we got 5 months left of the season.
We've got 100 and something more games to play.
100 and something more games. They are 9-14, so that's 23 games. Quick math, that's 139 games left to play. 139. I was right. So I get it. It's early. With what I've seen over the last, really, I'm looking at their schedule at the their schedule on ESPN right now. I'm just looking back through, right? The first 2 series were pretty good. I think 4-2, we take it. Then they lose 3 to Texas. And really, since that Texas series, you look at, they've had the games they've won, they've scored 5 or more, with obviously the big 16-run game against Boston and then the 10-run game against the Yankees that they just pulled out of nowhere to win at the end there. Other than that, it's really just been a ton. A couple shutouts, a couple 1-0 shutouts. They've had one, look all the way back from the Texas. 2, 4, 3, 3, 1, 4, 4, 0, 3, 0, 0, 1. Those are the runs that they've scored in all the games they've lost since the Texas series. And so for me, I understand, right? We don't want to panic. It's early. I've always been in the camp that I think that's kind of a crap take anyway, just because all the games are worth the same amount, right? Like, I don't care if they play in April or in September, like they all count the same. So I don't think just because you have 5 months left in the season, you need to downplay the fact that the team's 5 games under 500 already, with one of the worst records in the American League. It's also the same thing we saw last year. So it's not that as if they're coming into the new season and, where did this come from? The offense is just really struggling to be consistent. It's struggling to score, and it's not out of nowhere, right? This isn't some blip in the radar. This is something that we have seen now for, with the exception of the first half of 2023, we've seen it since the 2022 season. just an offense that cannot contribute up and down the lineup. It cannot come up in the big moments with runners in scoring position. We've seen that over the last bad stretch of games, right, where they've had, of course, all those issues against the Angels with the runner on third, less than one out. They've had numerous at bats with multiple strikeouts in a row with runners in scoring position, just seemingly unable to do anything to get the run across. I mean, I feel like it's a broken record listening to Kevin Cash after the games talk about, yeah, we got them in position for it. We just couldn't come up with the big hit when we needed it. I mean, it feels like I'm living the same day over and over again with this team.
You're in
And
a
that's
Rays Groundhog Day.
yes, and so that's what's got me the most concerned, and that's why I'm on more of the side of sounding the alarm now. Like let's show some urgency and not just play it off like, oh, there's plenty of time left. Like these are the same issues we've been seeing now for the better part of this would be the third season or fourth season, excuse me. Like I said, with the exception of that first half of 2023. Um, and so it's concerning because it feels like they're just not a good team. Their ceiling or their floor should be so high because of the pitching, but the pitching hasn't been great either. I get that they're still having some games where they're 1-0 shutouts, right? Or they're only giving up like last night, right? Zach Littell, he technically had a quality start, 3 runs over 6 innings. You take that, but at the same time, like he's getting down in counts. He's getting behind batters. He's giving up home runs. He's got 7 home runs given up. I believe Pepio's had 8 home runs given up. We've seen Taj lose control at times and give up the long ball. And I know that some of it's a product of being in Steinbrenner Field, but at the same time, like their bullpen's just been super inconsistent, giving up runs here and there. Pete Fairbanks has been essentially non-existent this season. And the time he's gotten, I can't remember the time he's had a clean inning all year. So the offense is front and center on terms of what's the biggest issue right now. And that's what has me most concerned because it's the same things we've been seeing. But when you add in some of the pitching inconsistencies and the bullpen inconsistencies, honestly, which have been really disappointing to me because I really felt like, and they obviously there's time for the bullpen to turn it around. Last year they did the same thing. They started off slow and then they were dominant the second half. But we don't want to put ourselves in too much of a hole now because teams like the Yankees, who took it to us in a 4-game series, it never felt like we were really in those games. I mean, I know some of the games were close, and we obviously won at the end in Saturday's game. But it really felt like we were just battling uphill the whole series. Boston took it to us as well. So I'm I'm concerned. I don't feel confident that this is a team that's just playing poorly and it's actually a much better team than this. I'm getting more concerned with every game that this is just a bad team. And I mean, they're not getting any easier opponents coming up. I mean, it's all playoff teams until uh, May 13th when they play the Blue Jays on the road. So
So I'm
talk me off. I'm not. I'm gonna say I'm
I'll
on the
talk
ledge,
you off.
but tell me why
I'll get
I
one.
might be overreacting.
I don't think you're overreacting because I think what you're saying is valid. It is valid. It's a validation. I mean, we talked about this last season where the team is once they get in themselves in the hole, there's no like sense of urgency at all. I agree with you on that point, and I'm not on the ledge with you just yet. And I say that because we're only still in April, and there's been plenty of times where teams start off slow, they look sloppy, they look inconsistent, and then they finally find their stride. And maybe it's me being naive about this team. And that's why I'm not on the ledge just yet. I do think there is definitely there definitely needs to be some like heavy changes, and I know that we have some guys coming up back from injury and whatnot. Some Kin's coming back. Josh Lowe is coming back, and McClanahan should be back sometime soon. So there are reinforcements coming in. And I know they've had to deal with a lot of these injuries lately where it's been kind of frustrating because you want to plug and play the guys and they can try to make an immediate impact, but it's just not. They're not doing anything at all. And yeah, the offense is front and center because I think that's the thing that's been the most inconsistent and the most frustrating is that. And it's been like that for a while. That's the shitty thing because we had such high hopes with this new offense. Now, listen, there's been some bright spots. I mean, Camanero's been hitting the ball well. Jonathan Aranda's been hitting the ball well. Yanni's kind of getting back in his stride, but it's not consistent, and that's the most frustrating thing, especially when you're not scoring a lot of runs. And yeah, I mean, the runners in scoring position is the biggest thing too. Is and when you have certain situations where you have like bases loaded or two guys on the corner, and you're not making any kind of impact that way. It's definitely frustrating, especially when you're keeping guys in like Taylor Walls, who's look, it's over, man. Like, stop putting him in the lineup. It's not going to help out for him to get reps. It's not. Look, he's great on the field. He's a great shortstop, but when it comes to being in the lineup, he's terrible. He sucks. He's not a great hitter. And maybe it's just because they're waiting for Hassan Kim to come back, and that's what they have to deal with right now. And but I'm not there to hit the panic button. I'm not even hovering over the panic button just yet because of who we have coming back. That's hopeful, and I put the hopefully in quotations. Hopefully is going to make an impact when they come into the lineup or the rotation. It's the hope that I have because look where they're at right now. It's not a big enough hole to where you're going to say, okay, they're not going to be good this year. It's time to
Right.
time to hit the panic button and just kind of reset everything and look towards 2026. I'm not there just yet because we're still in April. We're not even May's still a week away. Now, talk to me in another month or so, and they're still doing the same thing. Then I'm gonna have issues, and then I've probably got one foot on the ledge where it's like, okay, they may not be good this year. So, I mean, look, I've been kind of saying this for the past week and a half, and I said this on Monday when I was a guest on the sports with our good friend Peter Blake. You know, Joe Boyle could definitely
Mhm.
come in and get a start in the rotation and maybe you know give the rotation kind of a boost because a lot of guys are struggling right now. I mean, Pepio is supposedly our number one guy, but he hasn't really looked like a number one. It's been kind of tough to watch him pitch.
Right.
So I think they've got so many guys in the minors that they could bring up, but it's just, it's all about the business side of baseball. It's like, well, if we bring them up and this clock starts ticking, and then who we send down, who are we going to DFA? Are we going to trade somebody? So it's definitely one of those things where Cash and company really have to either grit their teeth and play with what they play with, or really make a shakeup and go forward. But I'm not at the ledge just yet because it's still early. But you might call me a naive, and maybe I'm just kind of hoping that they come out of the slump. But
Yeah.
if you can't score any runs, you're not going to win any games, and that's been kind of the thing for the past couple of weeks is they can't score runs. I mean, it's nice when they have those games where they're scoring more than 5, and that's a winnable game for them.
Right.
But
Yeah.
when it comes to the close games where you're losing by 1 or 2 runs and you're not doing anything, then yeah, that's really frustrating in my eyes. So
I'm looking at the Rays stats with runners in scoring position because we feel like that is just the numero uno stat, right, for this team and for this organization for the last few years.
they're probably what last
Um,
in the league in runners in scoring position.
well, I'm actually looking at. I will actually. That's the thing is, I don't think they are because I
Who's
well,
worse?
well okay. So hold on, let me look it up. But I don't think they are because it's one of those things where it's strange because you look up and down the lineup and there are several guys who are all hitting with great averages in with runners in scoring position. Um, but what the issue is the guys that have gotten the absolute like the most at bats. Okay, so who do you think little they flashed this stat on one of the games and it caught me by surprise because I wasn't. I wasn't aware that these would be the leaders of this stat. But I think it speaks to why um, we feel the way we do about the lineup a little bit. So, runners in scoring position, can you name me the top three players on the Rays that have the most played up or most at bats with runners in scoring position? Who would you say are the three guys with the most
With the most,
at bats
Taylor
with runners in scoring position?
Taylor Walls.
Okay, that's one.
Brendan Lau.
He's number four.
Okay.
All
Curtis
right,
Mead.
strike one. Strike two. Curtis Mead's tied for seventh with 12.
Okay. All right, but Walls
So
is
Taylor
the
Walls has 19 at bats with runners in scoring position. He's
okay.
tied for second. So the other guy has one other guy has the same amount, and then there's one that's a clear leader.
Burrell?
No,
No. All right, give me
no.
the other two because
Yandy Diaz has
okay.
27 at bats. He's number
Okay.
one by a good margin.
Okay.
His average with those 27 at bats with runners in scoring position. This is Yandy, right? This is
Mhm.
the guy who's supposed to be the consistent
Like,
hitter. He's carrying a lot of the offensive load for us. He's on the extension, all the things. Batting 148.
see, that's inexcusable. And you're supposed to be
Uh,
the veteran of the team, and you're supposed to be the
yeah,
captain of the team, and you're hitting
four
that.
four hits, 27 at bats, no doubles, no triples, so four singles. He's got five RBIs, five strikeouts, two walks. So his OPS is 348. All right. So then Danny Jansen was number two with 19 at bats. He's tied with Taylor Walls.
Ugh.
So Danny Jansen's number two with 19 at bats. He shockingly has two hits. I think that's the amount of hits he's got all year. Um, one double. So he's batting 105, and then Taylor Walls is also batting 105. So you've got how 38, 65, right, at bats total between those three guys with runners in scoring position, and you have 8 hits total, with an average in the 100s. Like that, that's terrible. And
Yeah.
it's honestly like there's no excuse for Yandy,
No.
but
Well, it's no. What? Well,
honestly,
Drew, it's not. There's no excuse for all three of them.
well, no, or I agree with that. But like Danny Jansen, I would also put in that group because I mean, they signed him $7-8 million deal. Like this is a guy that's supposed to be.
Yeah.
He was
Expectation
finally
is.
supposed to be the guy at catcher for us that's going to actually hit the ball
Yep.
and be this great pitch framer, all these, whatever. And he is not living that up to that at all, right? So he's definitely like I look at him and Yandy like, hey, you guys are the veterans. I definitely expect more out of you two. Taylor Walls, it's not that I don't expect more out of him because that's an atrocious average of 105. And I've always been more of a Taylor Walls apologist than most because I know he's done it in high, triple A in the minors, and like there's been times where he's looked good at the plate. It just feels like he just can't ever sustain anything. Like there's no consistency, and he's so good in defense that it's just like if you can give us just a little bit,
If
it's
you
hard
can
for me
bat
not to.
over, if you can
It's
bat
hard
over
for me,
240, if you can bat over
yeah,
240, I'll be okay with it. But
with
like,
just like
it's not.
let's say a little pop or something like a homer here and homer there. It's just I feel like it should be a floor that he could easily clear, and so I'm always optimistic that he can do it. But at this point, I'm very obviously pessimistic that that's going to happen. And the fact that he's got 19 at bats, like we got to start asking questions about if he how much he should be playing right now. I mean, we always talk about
Well.
Hassan Kim.
But Drew, though, like it's the clock's ticking because once Kim comes back up, he's going to take a back seat.
Right. And you know,
I mean, because right now they're kind of like in a predicament of we only have Walls and we have what Caballero.
Caballero,
Yeah,
for
and that's
short. Yeah.
that's pretty much it. Even though, like, to me, Caballero should be getting more starts than
And like, I mean,
Walls.
I get like Caballero certainly is offering more offensively. Like, I also don't think Caballero is like just I I've always been a little down on Caballero as well. Like, I don't know. He's always seemed a little bit I mean, he strikes out a ton. I think his strikeout percentage right now is like in the 30s or 40s. I mean, it's crazy. So I'm not like a huge Jose Caballero guy. He's got a 36.2% strikeout rate. But I mean, he is hitting the ball with a little bit of pop. And at
Mhm.
this point, like he gives you enough on defense. Granted, I know it's not as good as Taylor. I think there needs to be a serious conversation, and I'm sure they're having it, of okay, do we need to tip the scales back in Jose's favor where Jose's getting the starts, 4 or 5 out of the 7 days, and Taylor's getting those other
You're
few
they're
starts.
gonna have to look at that and
And
have to do that, and they're still playing Curtis Mead. It's like I just think they're so.
it's
I thought they had good enough depth to where they wouldn't have this problem, but it just now they have this problem and the hole's there, and they just have to wait until they dig themselves out when the reinforcements comes back. So that's where they're at right now because they don't really have any other depth to fill in those spots. Now you can
yeah,
bring up now if you wanted to bring up Carson Williams, you can, if they wanted to, but you have Kim. You have Kim that's probably a few
yeah,
weeks
they're
away. You know what I mean? So it's just like
and
he,
Carson, well, just Carson specifically, he's struggling pretty good right now in AAA. I think his K rate is higher than Cabby. I mean, he's like hitting below 200 right now. So
so
he's having a bit of an adjustment period with AAA that
I
he's
just think
working
with the
through.
I just think with the offense right now, they're just kind of stuck with what they have, and
To,
they're
to be
gonna have to like play with what they have until the guys come back from injuries and be back in the lineup, and that's what they're just gonna have to do. Because other than that, other than like making a move where you have to go and trade for somebody, but like I said, it's early, so you don't really need to do that just yet. You have to kind of play with the toys that you have until the ones that got injured, that got broken, are coming back. It sucks because I think this team's a little bit better. I think this team is better than what we've seen on the field.
hmm
It's just hasn't clicked yet just yet. And that's but like going to what you said before, it's like the same movie we've seen already. You know what I mean? Because we saw
yeah.
this last year. It's not I don't think it's as bad as last year, but it's like okay, we've seen this movie before. What's going on here?
Well, I don't, and I
There you go.
yeah, Curtis Mead. It's clear it's just not working.
Yeah.
I, he has not inspired any confidence. 1 for 12 with runners in scoring position is Curtis Mead, by the way.
Woo! 1 for 12.
He is what's he hitting now? He's hitting 138 with no home runs, 1 RBI. So it's to me like it's. I think because you see what kind of success Aranda's having, right? When it's like, okay, he's finally getting the playing time. But I feel like you saw it last season some with Aranda, with more so like you could kind of see it kind of clicking for him later in the season in the second half. He was starting to drive the ball, or Jonathan Aranda was starting to drive the ball. He was hitting home runs. He looked way more confident at the plate. And so that in turn, has led to now he's getting he got, a start the other day against a lefty. He's been their best offensive player this season without question. So it's almost like, okay, well, Curtis Mead, it feels like he's in that same boat that Aranda was in 2 years ago, where he's got this great hitting profile and he's had great success at the minors and supposedly he's this great prospect offensively, and he just can't seem to get it going. But it's also because he's starting once every 5 or 6 days, and then when there's a lefty or getting a random pinch hit opportunity and not really able to get into any sort of rhythm. So if maybe he just gets into more consistent playing time, then it's gonna maybe you'll start seeing the results. But
I don't know, man.
there's been nothing to suggest on Curtis Mead and his
Right.
performance on the field. Like I've seen no signs that he is capable of producing at any sort of consistent level in the majors. It's clear to me it's just not working right now. So I know I think they have an option on him. I wouldn't be surprised if they send him back down. Or honestly, I don't know. I mean, I think as fans, it's easy for us to be like, all right, yeah, they could probably trade him at this point for something and just move on and give him a change of scenery and let him get some playing time elsewhere in a place that has a better opening for him. But the Rays maybe maybe I'm sure they're much longer term thinkers than we are at this point, where maybe they want to
I
they're
I
they're
think
not even close to that decision at this point. They're
I think
he is
they are
somebody
because
that
if they were short term, they wouldn't have held on to Orlando as long as they have, because I think he's been with the organization for a while,
yeah.
and the
I
times
mean,
we've seen him before this season and he didn't look so well, but now he's kind of broken out of that, and he's he's probably going to be named, if he keeps going the way he's going. He's probably going to be named to the All-Star team as the Rays representative, probably. I think.
yeah. I mean, if he keeps it up,
Yeah.
and the thing is with someone like Curtis Mead, and he's not the reason why they are struggling, but he was a guy that, he had this great spring training and everything. And so it's like, all right, he's going to be that depth, right? Adding to that depth. And it's just been non-existent for him.
Yep.
Again, the issue is who do you call up in his place? And like, yeah, I mean, Hassan Kim, I mean, it's like May or June, right? I mean, I know they keep saying May, but like, there's nothing to suggest that means like in a couple of weeks. It could probably be most likely the end of May. So you got a whole nother month. Like, are you willing to just sit there and and keep this group together for another month? Um,
I think they're going
I
to
don't know.
have to, though.
I mean, they got
That's the thing. They're going to have to,
it's
because
either
they don't.
it would have to be Eloy or like
And that,
or Tanner Murray or somebody like that.
yeah, I
Tanner Murray,
just
and he's an older prospect like Meisner and Magnum are. He's 25 and he's really putting it together now in the in AAA. So I don't know. I'm not sure. Um, I will say though, the one source of optimism I have right now is it feels like all of the positive things about this offense are all the guys that are new or shouldn't have been here
yeah,
or weren't expected to be here. So
right.
it gives me hope moving forward. You're kind of seeing a really good group of players establish themselves in the league. I mean, it's been so great having Chandler up. I mean, he is exciting to watch. I mean, appointment viewing, appointment. I make sure I watch his at bats. I want to watch him run. I mean, having him up here is such a breath of fresh air. Even if it's not like he's going to be hitting home runs and driving in a ton of runs. It's just so great having him in the lineup. Being able to create some excitement for this team offensively.
Yep.
Guys like Meisner and Mangum who weren't even expected to be on this team, right? Up due to injuries and just really coming through. I mean, they were the only reason why we scored a run last night.
Yep.
Um,
Yeah, if we cut out Walls and Mead and
and and and
Jansen and
Brandon Lau's struggling right now too.
yep.
Like, I mean, Caminero. I think people. The comments I read on some of the fan sites and stuff.
Are you talking about the Facebook GMs and the
Oh
Twitter
yeah,
GMs? Yeah.
well yeah, like some of the SB Nation, the
No,
D-Rays
they're
Bang,
not.
that's the important
They're
stuff.
not even a real publication anymore, man.
Yeah, that's true. But I just, people, it's like, I don't know. I get the defense hasn't been great, at certain points, but like he's 21 years old. I mean, he's easily our biggest power threat, and he's been hitting home runs. He's, driving the ball. I mean, he had a rough game last night, but like, I'm not. I mean, yeah, it'd be great if he was hitting 300 and had, 8 to 10 home runs at this point, but like, I think he's doing just fine for where he's at right now in his development. So there are pieces to feel excited about. It almost feels like we're further along than last year, where we're kind of starting to weed out some of these. And as we
Yep.
get further into the season, when Kim comes back from the IL, and guys like Josh Lowe come off the IL, and like we can kind of pair that with some of the newer talent, the kind of the fresh faces we've got on the roster. I feel like there's something there, but for right now,
See, that's
it's
the predicament, though. Especially when
yeah,
Josh Lowe comes back up, who goes down?
yeah. I mean, because and that I think you're going to have to make some tough decisions there too. I mean, I think that calls into maybe the front office swallowing their pride and cutting ties somehow with Chris Morel.
Yeah.
Which stinks because I like Chris Morel. I was really hopeful about him and excited that he was on the team. But like, you can't if they and again, it's all with the caveat if they're keeping up this level of play, right? Like if there's like guys like Mangum and Meisner, because they weren't these heralded prospects and they're older and like they've just kind of been there, not really somebody that we've been like really excited about. The fact that they've come up and taken this opportunity and played so well,
Yeah,
you're almost kind of
you can't send him down. There's
you're
no
almost
way.
kind of waiting for the bottom to drop out. You're almost kind of waiting for them to come back down to earth. But it's like, hey, there might be a reality where these guys they can hit, they can run, they can field. Like it's very possible they keep this level of production up. So what do we do? And like you said, you can't send them
You
down. Like
can't. If they
they're the
send him down, that's you're
we would
taking
where would we be
production.
without them
Yeah, exactly.
right
You're
now?
taking production and you're taking consistency out of the lineup, and there's no way
Right.
you can't do that. So they're like the tough decisions have to be made coming up, and I hope they know that the tough decision has to come. And I think Morel's probably, you're right, probably the odd man out. To be honest with you,
I, and I don't know, like I don't know. I mean, maybe that's crazy. Like, I mean, race front office people, you listen to this and be like, "Oh, that's not even close to how we view things," you know. And
right?
I don't know. I could be way off, but like, if Chandler's up here stealing bases and hitting close to 300, like, and playing good defense in center field, I don't know how you take him out.
Exactly.
Like I don't know how you take him out. So then you got to think about guys like Johnny DeLuca. I mean, he was playing great before he got hurt. At least hitting well for hitting a good average, playing good defense. All the things that we were hoping out of him. He was doing that, and it was a small sample size. It was only a few series, but like he certainly wasn't playing his way out of time on the field.
Right.
So, I mean, what is that?
I think what
That
they'll
puts
have
you
to
at
look
like,
I think what they'll have to look at is, a trade might have to come.
I mean, that's five outfielders if without Chris Morel
Yeah.
between Simpson, Mangum,
I
Meisner,
I would, and I
DeLuca, and
agree with you. I
Morel.
think the way Simpson's playing, I think he's so good, man. Like I'm so glad he's up in the majors, has gotten a shot. Like having him at the leadoff position with his speed just changes the dynamic of
And
that first part of the lineup. But like you can't
yeah,
at this point. I can see them sending him back down because
he's got options and all
he's
that.
got
It's just
he's got
it's
options and
easy.
everything, and you could plug DeLuca back in and see how he does. I think that's probably the route they're gonna take. I don't want that to happen, but it's probably the most raised thing that's gonna happen because Simpson's got plenty of options still left. Morel's, I mean, he's got really nothing. You either have to DFA him or you have to trade him.
I would be
So
okay. Yeah, I would be okay with if DeLuca comes when he comes back because he won't be back until May sometime.
right.
I mean, he's not even. They haven't really given an update on him, and
No, I don't think they
I mean,
really haven't given an update on
it was
Kim
like
either.
no. I mean, he was in. He's going with. I do know they said he's going with he's on the road trip with the team, and he's flying because he's the doctor who did his surgeries in San Diego, so he's going to be with the team in San Diego and getting like a follow up. And it's not a bad thing. It's just that he will be able to. The doctor's going to check him out and make sure everything's
It's a
looking good.
progress report. It's a progress
Progress
report.
up, yeah, progress
It's a
report.
progress
So,
update. Yeah.
I mean, I think personally, I think that um, DeLuca comes back, let's say in 2 to 3 weeks. I don't know why it wouldn't be possible for them just to send Mead down. Um, I know
Yeah.
that gives you five outfielders, but you basically, I don't know. I mean, maybe they wouldn't do that. It's so tough when you have an offense, and we're starting to see it a little bit with Kevin Cash. He's so loyal to his guys. Like he'll just put these guys out there all the time. But like we're starting to finally see it, like the other day, and even tonight, like Caballero getting the start over Walls. Walls' best side is hitting right-handed. So if you ever expect Walls to do any damage offensively, it's usually against a left-handed pitcher. Um, and so he would always start against left-handed pitching, and along with Caballero. And we've seen recently that that's not the case. I mean, Caballero's gotten the lion's share of the starts the last week or so, and I think you're starting to see that a little bit. And so for a team that's starved for some production and excitement on offense, like these guys, Mangum and Meisner and Chandler especially, like if they're the only ones consistently providing any sort of you know value, especially in the outfield. Like I just don't know how I don't know how you can sit
It's
there and be
tough.
like, all right, we're serious about winning this year, so but we're gonna send those guys down. Like you
You
can't
would
do
have
that. So
you would have an uproar from the fan base if you send
it's
those
just
guys down.
it's gonna they're going to have to make some tough decisions.
Yep.
Now they usually get bailed out because there's an injury or two, but yeah, I mean there's just tough decisions to make. But I'm excited about some of the younger guys, the newer guys that are here. I hope that things turn around. They're going to have to beat some good teams to do it, because at this rate, I mean, they've already had two separate losing streaks, I think, of 4 games or more. Like, I don't want them to be out of it. They're not going to win the division or get a playoff spot in April, but they can certainly play their way out of it. And I would prefer not to have 4 months of a season feel like a runway for 2026.
We'll revisit this conversation in about a month or so. So
Yeah.
let us know in the comments below what you guys think the Rays should do when the guys have been injured are coming back up. Who should be sent down, and what should the Rays do when that happens? So thanks guys for tuning in to another episode of the Rays Rewind podcast, the sickest Tampa Bay Rays podcast on the Sick Media Network. You can find us at YouTube at the Sick Podcast, Rays Rewind. Hit the subscribe and notification bell for all new episodes that come up. Go Rays. Hopefully they'll snap the 4-game skid tonight against the Arizona Diamondbacks. See ya.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast Rays Rewind with Bushman and Drew on YouTube, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts.